$10,000. Say that number out loud. For some of you, it sounds like a fortune. For others, it sounds like 1 month of rent and a car payment. But regardless of where you stand right now, $10,000 in savings is the single most important financial milestone you will ever reach. Not a million, not 100,000, 10,000. And I know that sounds almost ridiculous because in 2026, $10,000 doesn't buy you a decent used car. It won't cover 3 months of rent in most major cities. It's not enough to put a down payment on a house. It's definitely not going to land you on any rich list. So why am I calling it the most important milestone? Because $10,000 is not about what you can buy with it. It's about what happens to you once you have it. Something shifts, not gradually, not subtly. Something fundamentally rewires in your brain, your confidence, your career, and your entire relationship with money the moment that account balance crosses 5 figures for the first time. And the craziest part is that most people will never experience this shift. Not because they can't save $10,000, but because they quit at 3,000 or 6,000 or 8,000, never knowing they were inches away from a transformation that would have changed the rest of their lives. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your brain when you have nothing saved, because this is the part that nobody talks about, and it might be the most important financial concept you'll ever hear. When your savings account is empty, or close to it, your brain enters a state that neuroscientists call cognitive scarcity. This isn't just a fancy word for stress, it's a measurable, documented reduction in your ability to think clearly. Researchers at Princeton conducted a study that found financial scarcity reduces your cognitive function by the equivalent of 13 IQ points. 13 points! That's the difference between being sharp and being foggy, between making a smart decision and making a reactive one, between seeing an opportunity clearly and completely missing it because your brain was too busy calculating whether you could afford gas this week. And here's the devastating part. You don't notice it happening. You've been living with this mental fog for so long that it feels normal. You think this is just how your brain works. You think you're just not good with money or not smart enough to figure it out. But that's not true. Your brain is perfectly capable. It's just being hijacked by financial survival mode. Every unexpected text from your landlord triggers a cortisol spike. Every strange sound from your engine floods your body with stress hormones. Every time your phone rings from an unknown number, your nervous system activates like there's a physical threat. Your brain cannot simultaneously fight for survival and plan for the future. It's one or the other. And when your savings are empty, survival wins every time. Planning, investing, career strategy, creative thinking, all of it gets pushed aside so your brain can focus on the immediate threat of not having enough money to get through the week. This is why people with no savings make decisions that look irrational from the outside. They take the first job offer that comes along even when they should negotiate. They stay in terrible situations because leaving feels too risky. They avoid looking at their bank account because knowing the number is more painful than not knowing. These aren't signs of financial incompetence. They're symptoms of a brain operating in emergency mode with no margin for strategic thinking. And it takes roughly $10,000 to shut that alarm off. The Federal Reserve's survey on household well-being found that people with $10,000 or more in liquid savings report dramatically higher financial confidence and dramatically lower stress. Not slightly better, dramatically. Because $10,000 represents approximately 3 to 4 months of basic survival for the average person, and 3 to 4 months is the magic number where your brain finally receives the signal that says you are not in immediate danger. You have time, you have breathing room, you can afford to think beyond next Friday. That signal changes everything. Your brain shifts from threat detection to opportunity detection, from reactive to proactive, from desperate to strategic. And that single shift affects every financial decision you make going forward. Now, let me show you what happens to your money at $10,000, because this is where the math starts getting genuinely interesting. When you have $1,000 invested, earning an 8% annual return, you make $80 in a year. $80. That's less than a decent pair of shoes. It feels laughable. It feels like the entire concept of investing is a scam designed for people who already have money. And honestly, at $1,000, I understand why people feel that way. The returns are so small, they're almost insulting compared to the effort it took to save that $1,000 in the first place. But at $10,000, the math shifts. 8% on $10,000 is $800 per year. That's $800 that appeared in your account without you working a single extra hour, without you skipping a single meal, without you doing anything at all except leaving your money in the right place. Now, $800 per year still doesn't sound revolutionary, but here's what you need to understand about compound interest. That $800 gets added to your $10,000, so next year you're earning 8% on $10,800. That's $864. The following year, 8% on $11,664. That's $933. Each year, the number grows faster than the year before because you're earning returns on your returns on your returns. Here's a number that should make you sit up straight. If you invest $10,000 right now and never add another penny, just leave it completely alone for 30 years at 8% average returns, you'll have approximately $100,000. You did nothing. You added nothing. Your original $10,000 multiplied itself 10 times over simply because time and compound interest did the work. Now imagine you don't just leave it alone. Imagine you keep adding $400 per month on top of that initial $10,000. Same 8% return. In 10 years, you're looking at roughly $88,000. In 20 years, approximately $248,000. In 30 years, over $620,000. More than $500,000 built on a foundation of $10,000 and a monthly contribution that's less than most people's car payment. But here's the critical thing to understand. None of this works without that initial $10,000. Not because the math requires it, but because you won't stick with the process without it. At $2,000 invested, your annual returns are $160. At that rate, compound interest feels like a lie told by rich people to make you feel better about being broke. At $10,000, your annual returns are $800 and climbing. Suddenly, compound interest stops being a theory and starts being something you can actually see in your account. That visibility is what keeps people investing. That visibility is what transforms saving from a painful sacrifice into an exciting strategy. Let me tell you about something called walkaway power, because this is where $10,000 starts changing your life in ways that have nothing to do with investing. Walkaway power is the ability to leave any situation, a job, a negotiation, a bad deal, because you know you'll be financially fine on the other side. When you have no savings, you have zero walkaway power. Your employer knows it, your landlord knows it, and deep down, you know it too. That's why you accept the salary they offer without negotiating. That's why you work overtime without pushing back. That's why you tolerate a toxic manager, a miserable commute, and working conditions that make you dread Monday mornings. You can't afford to rock the boat because you're standing in the water. But $10,000 changes the entire dynamic. With 3 to 4 months of expenses covered, you can survive a job transition. You can take 2 weeks off to interview somewhere better. You can look your manager in the eye and say that you deserve more money because the worst-case scenario no longer terrifies you. And here's what's fascinating. You'll probably never need to use that walkaway power. Just having it transforms how you carry yourself at work. You become calmer under pressure, more willing to speak up in meetings, more confident when presenting your ideas. People treat you differently because you show up differently. And you show up differently because you're no longer negotiating your career from a position of desperation. There's research from the Harvard Business Review showing that employees who feel financially secure are 2.4 times more likely to negotiate for higher pay and 1.8 times more likely to receive promotions. Not because they're more talented, because they're not afraid. Fear makes people small. Financial security makes people bold, and boldness is what gets rewarded in the workplace, whether we like it or not. Now, let me tell you about what $10,000 does to emergencies, because this is the part that changes your daily life immediately. The average American faces roughly $1,500 per year in unexpected expenses. Car repairs, medical copays, appliance breakdowns, home issues. These expenses aren't really unexpected at all. They're completely predictable in aggregate. You know something will break, you just don't know what or when. When you have no savings, each of these events creates a chain reaction of financial damage. Let me walk you through how this actually works. Your car needs a $900 repair. You don't have $900, so you put it on a credit card at 25% interest. Now you owe $900 plus interest. The higher credit card balance increases your minimum payment by $45 per month. That $45 has to come from somewhere, so you pay your phone bill late. Late fee, $35. Your credit score drops 15 points because of the late payment. Your car insurance company runs a credit check at renewal, and your premium increases by $30 per month because of the lower score. One $900 car repair just became an ongoing $75 per month increase in your expenses. Over a year, that's $900 in additional costs on top of the original $900 repair. You paid $1,800 for a $900 problem. And that's if nothing else goes wrong. If another emergency hits while you're still recovering from the first one, the cascade compounds, and the math gets genuinely terrifying. Now, run that same scenario with $10,000 in savings. Car needs $900 repair. You transfer $900 from savings to checking. You pay the mechanic. Your savings drops to $9,100. You rebuild over the next few months. No credit card debt, no late fees, no credit score damage, no insurance premium increase, no cascade, no stress spiral. The emergency happened, and your life continued completely uninterrupted. That stability alone is worth every sacrifice it takes to build that $10,000. Because the true cost of having no savings isn't the number in your account, it's the thousands of dollars in cascading damage you pay every single year because you couldn't absorb a single hit. Here's what I want you to understand about the journey to $10,000, because this is where most people fail. The path is not linear, and it's not pretty. There will be months where you save $500 and feel like you're making progress. Then something breaks and you pull out $400 and feel like you're back to square one. This is normal. This is how it works for everyone. The emergency fund is supposed to be used. That's literally its purpose. The mistake isn't using it. The mistake is using it and then giving up on rebuilding it. There's a brutal psychological pattern that kills most people's savings journey. They save consistently for months, reach maybe $6,000 or $7,000, and then they hit a wall. Maybe a car repair drains $1,500. Maybe a medical bill takes $2,000. Maybe they just get exhausted from the discipline and blow $1,000 on something impulsive. Whatever the trigger, they drop back to $4,000 or $5,000 and they feel defeated. All that effort, all that sacrifice, and they're back below where they thought they should be. So they stop. They tell themselves they'll start again next month or next year or after they get a raise. Most of them never restart, and they never know that they were closer to the finish line than they were to the starting line. The cruelest part of saving is that the hardest work happens in the early stages when the rewards are smallest. Saving your first $1,000 requires enormous discipline and produces almost zero visible results. Saving from $1,000 to $5,000 requires sustained effort, and the returns are still barely noticeable. Saving from $5,000 to $10,000 is where most people quit, but it's actually the easiest stretch because the habit is built, the spending has adjusted, and you can see the finish line. Every dollar between $5,000 and $10,000 is more valuable than every dollar between 0 and $5,000. Not financially, psychologically, because those final dollars carry you across the threshold that triggers everything I've described in this video: the mental shift, the career confidence, the emergency resilience, the compound interest visibility. All of it activates once you cross $10,000. At $7,000, you're still pushing uphill. At $10,000, the hill levels off and the path starts working with you instead of against you. So what does the actual path look like? Let's be practical. If you're earning $45,000 per year, your take home is roughly $3,000 per month. If you save $350 per month, you'll hit $10,000 in approximately 29 months. That's 2.5 years. If you can push to $500 per month, you'll get there in 20 months, under 2 years. If you combine saving with paying off high-interest debt that's costing you money every month, the timeline might stretch slightly, but your overall financial position improves faster because you're eliminating the bleeding while building the buffer. There's no secret to this. There's no hack. There's no shortcut that actually works. It's automatic transfers on payday, reduced spending in categories that don't genuinely improve your life, and the stubborn refusal to quit when progress feels slow. The people who hit $10,000 don't have more willpower than you. They don't have higher incomes. They just decided that this number mattered enough to be uncomfortable for 2 years. And then they discovered that the discomfort was temporary, but the transformation was permanent. I want to leave you with something that might change how you see this goal. Right now, $10,000 probably feels like a finish line. It feels like the destination. But it's not. It's the starting line. Everything before $10,000 is just qualifying for the race. The actual race, where compound interest accelerates, where opportunities multiply, where financial stress fades and financial confidence grows, that race begins at $10,000. Every dollar you save right now is not just a dollar in a bank account. It's a vote for a completely different version of your life. A version where you sleep without anxiety, where you negotiate without fear, where emergencies are inconveniences, not catastrophes, where your brain is finally free to think about growth instead of survival. That version exists. It's waiting for you on the other side of a number that's smaller than most people's annual tax refund. The only question is whether you'll get there, not whether you can, whether you will.